Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. How are you today? I'm at a red light. I'm going to switch it over here to the other side of the traveling. So, today's 21 Habits for Happiness is choosing faith over fear. How appropriate is that for a pandemic time, right? Can you choose faith over fear? Like, do you actually think about that? Is that hard to do? Is it hard to choose faith over fear, whether it's a pandemic or not? How strong is your faith? Whatever it is you believe in, does it carry you through? You know, does that make a difference in your daily life on how you operate, how you interact with others, how you treat people when you're driving, how you treat people in a grocery store line, how you treat people that you work with? How does that impact your daily life, choosing faith over fear? And, you know, for me, I do have a strong faith. I do have what I call a higher power of my understanding. Always have. I've been very, 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 and I can't tell you how many varies. I could add 100 or more. Lucky that I always felt that my higher power would never give me any more than I could handle. I had no idea I could handle some of the things that have happened to me. I'm gonna get choked up because of course I'm thinking about my daughter and my dad and my nephew and Dave. You know, losing people changes you in so many ways, and it's really hard some days, but it does make you realize that you're stronger than you think you are, that you have the ability, as I said in one of the earlier walk and talks, obviously I'm not walking today right now, but I'm going to later, you know, you've gone through whatever you've gone through in your life and you're still here. So that proves to you, if no one else has ever told you this, that you are capable of some amazing things. And that to me is a show of faith. That's a show of my ability and your ability and our ability collectively to get through things. You know, there's a lot of people getting through this pandemic in a lot of different ways. Some people are going through the whole thing fearful. You know, I know that. I've seen that. I talked to enough people to know that they're super fearful. They're afraid of the virus. They're afraid they're going to get the virus without realizing that, you know, you might get the virus, but that doesn't mean you're going to die. There are some people who will pass on because of this virus, and we get that. I understand that completely, and I certainly sympathize with anybody who's lost somebody already close to them. And I do have a few friends that have, but I've had a few friends that have had it and are now recovered from it. And yeah, it's like worse than the flu when they're in the sickness of it, you know, sleeping most of the day away, you know, just having really icky symptoms. But, you know, if you're fairly healthy and you have a halfway decent immune system, not a lot of comorbidities, you're going to probably get through this even if you get it. So I don't know that, you know, you need to be so fearful as much as just knowing that you're going to be okay. Even if you get it, you're probably going to be okay. And that's not 100%. I understand there are people out there that are going to have difficulties with it or may not recover from it. I understand that too. However, the majority of people have and will. We've had over 500,000 people in the world recover from this. So I know there's been a lot of deaths too. But I also know that, you know, there's people out there that I remember hearing something the other day about a woman who survived the 1918 and this one so far. She's obviously over 100. That's pretty amazing when you think about it. Talk about a strong immune system, right? So, does she have a lot of faith? It sounded like it from the interview that I heard. You know, she prayed a lot. She said so. And, you know, sometimes, for those that believe in prayer, you know, that's powerful. I know I certainly do. I know that it has brought a lot of people to places that they in good places where they've never imagined being able to handle something, and they are able to handle those things. And they also recognize, there's a lot of grief in the world, and collective grief can pass on to other people just like collective fear can. So as much as possible, you want to try and have the faith of that we're going to be okay. Nobody leaves before it's their time. I think that's one of the things that people are always afraid of death. And I think that's what kind of is the underlying fear of a lot of the things that are happening nowadays, is people are so afraid of death that, that's kind of what consumes their mind, is if I get this, am I going to die? Or when I get it, am I going to die? Or I'm going to die if I get this. Like, it's not a given. It's not a given that you're going to die if you get this. It's not a given that, anybody who gets it will die. Some people will, some people won't, but that happens every day anyway. I think the numbers are like, my daughter passed because of the opioid crisis, and she was on medications from doctors. This was like prescription also, not just, the other kinds of illegal stuff. And, 6,000 people a month die of opioid addiction. Where's the outrage? How come we aren't in a pandemic mode about just that alone? That's a lot of people. That's just in the United States. Those are not worldwide numbers. That's just in the U.S. And, 50,000 of heart attacks every year. And yet that is somehow not considered as a major issue other than when the pandemic arrived, because those people with the heart issues, of course, are at high risk. So you're looking at really a perspective on some levels of, and I keep saying, so where's the outrage, about some of these other things that clearly affect hundreds of thousands of people every single year. And I know we're losing people with COVID, and I think it's awful that, that's what took them. And we know that most of them did have underlying conditions, regardless of their age. Some of them most of them aware of it, some of them not aware of it. And I think that's why there's all that fear. I think that's why the fear keeps coming up is, quote unquote, the experts don't seem to know enough. And if people knew a little bit more, or had some confidence in what they were hearing and not hearing all kinds of, conflicting expert opinions, and I'm going to use the word opinions because sometimes I feel like a lot of this is more about opinions than it is about facts. And there's not enough facts that are really verifiable and, considered verifiable by numbers of, credible sources. And I think that's why there's so much fear. I think that's why the fear overtakes some people's thought processes in terms of what's going to happen going forward. I don't know what's going to happen going forward either. I don't have a, magic wand or a magic crystal ball to look into to tell you what's going to happen a month from now, 2 months from now. They're already talking about it's going to come back in the fall. Well, we don't usually get flu symptoms until, January, February. So why the fall? Unrealistic in terms of Connecticut anyways, but whatever. Now people are like sitting on pins and needles going, how long do I hold my breath on this issue? You know what I mean? Like, how long do I wonder what's going to happen and what's going to happen to me in particular? I had a red light here. I'm going to say hello to a couple of people. I think that's important too, to recognize that, let's live in today. Let's take today for what it is. It's a great day. It happens to be sunny here in Connecticut, depending on where you're at. Hopefully you are as well in a sunny location. That certainly brightens the mood of people. Yesterday too, super nice, bright and sunny day. You can definitely feel a lot better when it's a sunny day. Get that vitamin D in you. And I think that's one of the things is like, sometimes that perspective of like, are people going to come to those because now they are concerned about their immune system? Now they are concerned about their health and wellness in terms of that area of life, which obviously I think most people are recognizing that is certainly probably number one on your list now, or maybe it wasn't before. Maybe it wasn't that important before. You didn't think about it in terms of life and death. It was just kind of something you took for granted, or something you just accepted. Like, oh, I'm okay. You know, did you really get inside the real numbers? Have you done blood work? You know, does your naturopath know your numbers and where you want to go, or what you need to do to take good care of yourself? Like, who are you working with that's going to be able to determine that for you? You know, these are the kind of people that I deal with on a regular basis. So it's top of mind for me. You know, my health and wellness is my most important, what do you want to call it? Focus. And where I keep my focus, and have for many, many years. And I'm passionate about it, as some of you know. And no, I'm not an expert, but I can do toe to toe with just about anybody who's in the wellness field that's you know, talking about, you know, what's immunity, what's good stuff to put in you, those kinds of things. And I've learned a lot in my 64 years, but the last 40 really being focused on, you know, health. You know, as soon as I started having kids, and my oldest is 41, you know, I was very concerned about what they ate. It's funny, I was a lot less concerned about me at the time. It was more about them, which, you know, that happens when you become a parent. That's just how it is. You're really concerned about them more than yourself. But then I recognized, oh, geez, I got to take care of me too. So I need to, you know, eat right, and, you know, all those other things that I thought are and were important at that time. So, but I can know that I'm doing the best I can every day. Some days I fail at what I want to do, you know, and some days you will too. That doesn't mean you don't get back up on the horse and ride again. You know, you're just going to have to do what you have to do on a daily basis. So for me, getting to a faith-based place has a lot to do with staying in the day, being grounded, doing some meditation. I do it every morning. Sometimes I do it twice a day or 3 times a day, depending on how my day is going, and where I am in my mental state. Sometimes it's important for me to get regrounded, because I've lost my way, and that's perfectly fine. That's the human condition. I think I'm going to say that's the human condition. It's so nice that you know, we have the ability to do better, either later in the day or start your day over at any time. I always say you can always start your day over. Doesn't matter if it's 8 o'clock at night. You can start your day over. But then you also have the opportunity the very next day to start over again and do something good for yourself and take better care of yourself. You know, the 90-10 rule that I always talk about is, you know, 90% of the time I do really good stuff for myself and take really good care of myself and eat really well and take the supplements that I choose to take, those kinds of things, surround myself with the people I choose to be around. And 10% of the time, not so much. You know, that's just going to be how life is. It isn't an all or nothing. There's nothing black and white in anybody's life that I'm aware of. So for me, it's super important to, you know, stay on top of that and be aware of that. And for some of that just means being present to me right now, today, doing what I'm doing. I'm going to see my mom right now. She has a telehealth appointment because her shoulder is still bothering her. And, you know, I want to find out more about, you know, is there anything we can do to support her? Is there anything we can do if she can't get the surgery? Because obviously that's going to be considered elective at this point, but she's been suffering for some time, and we thought we would be able to do some of this actually in April already, but, you know, this is what happened, right? So we deal with it. So, you know, those are important things to be a part of. And you know, my mom does have a lot of medications that she's on, and those kinds of things all affect all these decisions. So I just want to be aware of what I can do to help her and support her. And I know that there's limitations to that as well. So keeping her in prayer is something I can do. Fixing her shoulder and doing the surgery is not. And, you know, we're not going to know more until later this afternoon about what that's going to look like. So you do what you can do every day, right? So for me, I'm going to choose faith today over fear. I'm not going to allow the fear of anything future-wise. I'm not going to project into tomorrow, the next day, next month, next year. I'm going to stay in the day and know that right now everything is okay. And I gave you my acronym for fear. I think I should do it every day, right? My acronym for fear now is forgetting everything's all right. Forgetting everything's all right. FEAR. So maybe that's good enough for you guys today to think about. Like, forgetting everything's all right. Everything is all right. Right now, today, everything is all right. Right at this moment, everything's all right. I'm driving my car. I'm paying attention to the road. It's like I'm talking to you because you're sitting in my passenger seat here, which is kind of cool thought process. I'm thinking about what I think about on a daily basis, and know that, you know, I'm going to choose my life to be a faith-based one, and not be fearful about what's going to happen in the future. Because there is no guarantee. There's no guarantee I'm not going to go for some other reason. It had nothing to do with the pandemic. And the same for anybody out there. We don't know. We don't know what our timestamp is. So you want to make the best of today. You want to make the best of every day that you are on the planet, doing the best you can to take good care of yourself. And today I'm going to sign off with the sun is always shining, guys. It's always got your back. It's always taking good care of you. It's keeping us on this planet alive. If it was gone for just one day, we would all. So we want to make sure that we want to stay on top of that, and blessings to the sun every day. So I love you. I hope you're taking good care of yourself today. And we'll see you again at the next one. Talk to you later. Love you. Bye.